Please be seated, everyone. Thank you. Half a day and welcome to the District Court of Guam, all the public high school students of Guam. The District Court of Guam has a drug court program, and it's called DOR. It's Drug Offender Reentry Program. In our Chamorro language, it's actually called Programan Hanatlan Tatlu. The adults who appear before the district court and who have substance abuse issues, meaning drug issues, they're drug addicts, and they appear before my court, and most of them, I think all of them that have appeared, began their drug use when they were your age or younger. You have been invited here today for a very special screening of a video that documents our drug offender reentry program, which we will begin after we've had an opportunity to answer some of the questions that you have given us. We will begin the viewing of that. You are the first students to view this. In our nation, you are the very first students. Some of you will have an opportunity to ask questions, and we will give the answers, the best answers that we can give to you. I would now like to introduce our two other panelists. They are Deputy Chief Probation Officer, Ms. Grace Flores, and Probation Officer Specialist John Nicholas, who will be coming up over here. And these two young professionals in my courtroom have been working with me from day one since we started the Drug Offender Reentry Program. Okay, now I'm going to step back, and we're going to begin the question and answer segment. So we'll get straight to the questions.
I'm Benny Joe, 12th grade from George Washington High School. Question was, what are the island's main drug-related issues and how are they being prevented?
Okay, that's a good question, Ben. And by the way, I graduated from GW many years ago, but I love all the other schools. Okay, the main issues, drug-related issues on Guam really involve alcohol, marijuana, methamphetamine, inhalants like butane, spice, and opiates. I've been a judge 21 years, and I was a prosecutor 10 years before that, and I've had juveniles in my courtroom appear in court who had just taken inhalants. I've had all the people that you see on the video that you're going to see in a few minutes, they all started off with marijuana, possibly alcohol, because we have that in a lot of our fiestas. Methamphetamine is ice, and so that's one of our big drug issues. How are they being prevented? I've indicated earlier, youth for youth, drug court, juvenile court, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. I mean, just the whole education process, that's how they're being prevented. But really, those are the main drug-related issues that we see for our youth. Okay? And thank you for your question.
My name is Reina Carpo from Ukudu. I'm 18 and 12th grade. My question is, what are new drug prevention interventions that can be used?
Well, there's several things that are already in existence within our island, and they're like Youth for Youth, Boys and Girl Scouts, the Peace Program that's sponsored by the Department of Mental Health and Social Services, having students get involved in sports or positive activities with their family or their non-drug using friends, and getting involved in your church. And those are some of the things that we see in working with our clients. If they have those positive things in their life, they're not likely to use drugs. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
My name's Emmanuel Ascension. I go to JFK. I am 15 years old and I'm 10th grade. My question is, how do drug tests work?
Good question. Drug tests, in our experience here at the court, we use drug testing to test for 5 different families of drugs to include marijuana, opiates or pain medication, amphetamines, methamphetamine, and cocaine. The drug tests work, we take drug testing through urine samples as well as through sweat or a sweat patch application. Drug tests work by finding the metabolites that are in your urine and or in your sweat. And from that, we are able to generate a presumptive positive on one of our drug tests that we use, drug test slides. If that's positive and our clients deny use, we send it to a lab, and the lab uses way more advanced testing to determine if those metabolites are in that specific sample. If they are, then our clients are in violation. If they're not, then our clients are not.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
My name is Chelsea Atoigui. I am a 17-year-old from George Washington High School. I'm a senior. What is the average percentage of teens on Guam who abuse the use of drugs?
This information was taken from Department of Mental Health statistics that they run. Illicit drug use is between 32 to 48%, and alcohol is between 24 and 58%. It's high, which is why prevention is important, which is why we're reaching out to the students to try and do what we can to show you what our program is so that you'll never get here. Thank you for your question.
My name is Joe Chris Garrido. I'm a senior at Southern High.
Okay?
So my question is how do drugs keep pouring in when we have certain officials for Port Authority?
You want to know, how come we're getting all these drugs coming to Guam, essentially? Where are they coming from? Honestly, a lot of drugs that come into Guam, the methamphetamine, the ice, comes in through the mail. They put them in the mail. They put them in fake books. They put them in envelopes. They put peanut butter over it. They cover it with plastic. And we'll talk about this a little later after the video. But a lot of them, we had 200 to 300 search warrants just from the mail. The customs officers are doing their job, but they probably need more customs officers. DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency in Guam, they're doing their job, but they need more agents. The Port Authority, there's stuff coming in from the container. That's a very good question, but a lot of them come through the mail. And the dogs sniff it, and we catch it. We do search warrants. Myself, Judge Manabusan, we issue the search warrants, and the officers go out and execute it, but they can't get all of them. But very good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trapped in a room of addiction. No one put me there but me. Only I have the key to recovery. Through the door, I shall set myself free.
Thank you.
It's a traditional Chamorro setting, the back kitchen of a village home, playful children, and a caring mother. But Beverly Torres' relationship with her 6 children is one that has had to be renewed a few times over. Torres' children, ranging in age from 7 to 15 years old, are familiar with the effects of drug addiction, as witnessed in their mother. Torres was only a few years older than her youngest child when she first became intoxicated.
I was 10 years old when I first drank alcohol. It was I picked up alcohol just being through family. I just continued to drink alcohol because that was, we were very family-oriented, very close. So we normally have gatherings and stuff like that. So, I don't know, I just continued, I just started picking up alcohol.
Alcoholism in Torres' very early adolescence led quickly to her use of marijuana. She was in the 6th grade, middle school. By age 14, just as she was entering high school, Torres picked up methamphetamine. To support her next fix, she started selling the illicit and powerful narcotic.
It was likewise the same thing. I was already so much into my partying and all that. It matters. So, I was the type that I'm pretty down. I want to do anything. I'll try anything. So I did try it. I picked up meth. Then I just continued to like it. I just kept doing it and doing it. Started smoking it, started shooting up. The increase of the usage of it went from plate to half to G's. It never really mattered about making the money. It's just, I just love to use it.
By age 16, Torres says she was a full-blown ice addict. It was also during this same time she discovered she was going to have a baby.
Already, I was pregnant using meth. I just continued it. It didn't matter to me anymore. It took me already. I didn't care if it was hurting anybody else. It only mattered to me, the feeling.
Torres says it is by the grace of God that today all of her 6 children are healthy, which is what she wants for herself as well. Exacerbating her challenges, Torres has been arrested, convicted, and jailed more than once in her life. The District Court of Guam's Drug Offender Reentry Program, otherwise known as DOOR, has given Torres an opportunity to reach her goal for a new and better life by requiring her to get certain treatment. According to Torres, it is making a tremendous impact in her life.
So it's very hard. I'm really trying my very best to stabilize everything, but that's what keeps me clean today. And as I continue, I know things will start to fall in place.
DOOR, D-O-R-E, stands for Drug Offender Reentry Program, and it's, in our language, in the Chamorro language, it's Programan Hinatlu Tatlu. And the reentry program really is a program designed for defendants who have served hard time in federal prison. And they have served hard time for drug offenses, and now they are reentering into the community, and they're serving their supervised release term. And during the supervised release term, they are being supervised very, very intensely by our probation department and by our team. These defendants have continued to battle their drug addiction, and it's important that we get this taken care of because they are reentering into the community. And they go through a treatment program. They're drug tested extensively each week. They go and see psychologists. They are reporting to their probation officers. And it's really to ensure that the community is not endangered by this defendant who's reentering into the community. And also it's to ensure that the defendant and his family are not endangered by the defendant's addiction. So this program is so essential for their reentry into our island.
Supervision is usually weekly contact with the probation officer, as well as weekly drug treatment sessions and testing as well as other conditions of their supervision term.
U.S. Probation Officer and Special Offender Specialist John Siniklis explains that not everyone who volunteers to be part of the DOOR program qualifies.
Our clients have to be struggling with substance abuse issues. They can't be serious mental health offenders, as well as sex offenders, and also notorious or violent offenders. If they're struggling with substance abuse issues, then they're usually eligible for the program.
A special feature of the U.S. District Court of Guam's DOOR program is its monthly roundtable discussions, where several key people converge to help the client.
Well, it's composed of the chief judge, and then there's the prosecutor, then there's a representative, myself from the public defender's office, 2 probation officers, and then we have 3 or 4 representatives from the different service organizations. So these are psychiatrists, drug counselors, mental health experts, people who work with the clients on a weekly basis. It's very important to have them there also because they give us a good reality check. They see the clients more than we do, and they know a lot of their struggles.
As a prosecutor, I'm the one that is the big spear thrower. I'm the one that submits the evidence to the jury, and they come back with hopefully a guilty verdict, and the judge then imposes a sentence. In this program, we're trying to work with the person to keep them free of prison. This is after they've already been punished. They've come back. What we're trying to do is prevent them from going down the same road that they went before.
The setup is different. It's not the traditional courtroom setting. It's really coming down off the bench onto the table at the same level as these defendants who are addicted to drugs. And so they've told us it makes a difference. I think it makes a difference to me as well. I'm sitting across from them. We're sitting as a team working with them. It's not me sitting on the top looking down at them. And it's not the prosecutors and defense counsels sitting at their separate tables. We are all sitting around the table, and they are the focus of the session. So yeah, if it makes a difference to them, it certainly, I'm certainly happy about that. And I think it makes a difference to all of us who used to think when you commit a crime like drug smuggling, drug possession, drug distribution, and you are addicted, you go to jail forever. That used to be the philosophy of law enforcement. Now we've come to realize, you know what? There is a broader problem here. There's a treatment component that we have to take care of before these defendants get out into our community. And I'm glad that we're doing that at this time.
The program clearly is client-centered, and I think the way the program is structured illustrates it. And I think that very setting leads to greater honesty and comfort, and that's what we're looking for. We really, without honesty, the program can't succeed.
Talking to the people on the panel, it's comprised of the judicial system, probation, the courts, and the service providers. And, you know, instead of talking to one person at one time and talking to another person, explaining it 6 or 7 different times, everybody's there for you to talk about it. So it's like calling a town meeting and sharing your issues with everybody and getting everybody's point of views or perspectives in to help you learn how to deal with it. You know, just knowing that they're willing to help us. You know, they're willing to listen to what we're going through and to understand what was going on and help us through it. It's like it helped me take ownership of what was going on in my life. So talking to the judge at the end of the table in the drug court setting was totally different from seeing a judge when you're in a criminal setting.
Being able to mediate and get everybody together who helped with my treatment and my program. And, you know, it's only led to have an open relationship with the court system where I'm able to be here today to give back.
Door clients Paul Mendiola and Andrew Conception have found hope through the district court program. Andrew had just started middle school when he was first exposed to drugs. He still remembers that his first experience with marijuana happened right here at the sports field in Santa Rita. Within that same year, he started using crystal methamphetamine.
And, you know, it was like something common just around the village and around the island where, you know, I went to families' households and it was readily available. It was really nothing big, you know, to me at the time. I was 13 years old. I couldn't make those decisions on my own, and, you know, it was supervised by adults. You know, at first it wasn't the addiction. It was just, I used it for motivation and energy. So, you know, for whatever sideline projects that I had going on, you know, I would, you know, get my hands on it just to help me motivate me and my friends and, you know, work on whatever project we had to work on. So it wasn't really just to get high, you know. It was really for that purpose, just to give us that energy we needed to get through our projects. So.
Former ICE addict Paul Mendiola was in his early 20s when he began using, which led to dealing, which led to his world crumbling down around him. Mendiola had a seemingly stable job, relationship, and lifestyle, but unfortunately, he also had a stable drug habit. Following a series of down-spiraling events, Mendiola finally began asking how he got himself into this situation.
You know, when things got real tight and the pressure was on, and banks were calling, and I made the decision to go and start dealing again. It was after I first almost got robbed, and I asked myself, what am I doing? You know, I'm running around with people that I don't even really know, and they just tried to rob me. That's probably when I asked myself, but I was already in deep. So I did some really bad things. You know, I ended up taking from my family, and that really caused a lot of turmoil, and it burned a lot of bridges because these people were really good to me. And even to this day, I haven't quite made total amends. There's been too many other things going on because of life, you know. All the things, all the goodness that I had slipped through my fingers. I couldn't hold on to it.
For other Door clients, it's their experience behind bars and really more, the time spent away from their loved ones that pushes them daily to straighten up their lives. Beverly Torres admits, What made her time in jail unbearable was being away from her children.
They come to my mind mostly every night during the day. I really try not because I've been incarcerated so many times. I've learned to just keep my mind where I'm at and not focus on outside. But of course, when it's time to sleep, I have the hardest time just thinking of how they're doing, because anything can happen. I wouldn't even know. So, yeah.
Door client Jacob Manabusan shares Torres' sentiment. He says his wife and children are his life. Time in prison because of drugs, in the end, was not worth it.
It really affected my family. It's to the point where I did 6 months in prison because I tested positive, and it just hurt me so bad because I almost lost my family. And my kids every time I talk to them, I always hear them crying. And I don't know, it just really affected me.
But the DOOR program works to help them change that, to help them remember who they were before they became addicted, or in many cases, helps them to see who they really want to be. Part of the journey involves reestablishing trust within the community. In order to secure this trust, they should contribute to the local economy, network in an industry, lay down new roots. The DOOR program assists clients in their attempt to find a job with help from the Defendant Offender Workforce Development Program. This is one of the ways going through the DOOR program helps clients get back on their feet and re-enter society.
We do feel for the struggles that they have with trying to obtain gainful employment. I found that in my history with probation is if a client wants a job and they go out and actively search for a job and sell themselves to get that job, they usually will be able to get a job. And then there are some clients who just don't get hired based on their offense. We would like to tell employers that they should look at our clients as possible employees for their companies, because we also offer a lot to the employers. We provide drug testing, we provide treatment, we can share those results with the employers. If they're not doing well on supervision, we can inform the employers. If they're not doing well at work, we can instruct them that they're supposed to be gainfully employed, so they're supposed to fulfill all their obligations with their jobs.
While St. Nicholas and the rest of the U.S. probation team work earnestly to help DOOR clients find a job that fits, just as St. Nicholas mentioned, it won't be the easiest task because the reality is that employers are cautious. In many instances, drug addiction is a topic that not many people are prepared to discuss.
I mean, a lot of people, when it comes to drugs, they don't want to hear it.
Just as the sun surfaces from beneath the horizon every day, so does hope for all drug addicts. DOOR clients recognize this and extend a message of caution to everybody about the perilous path on which drug use will take you.
If there's things in life that they value, then drugs has no place in it because it'll just take it all away. And that would be my advice to them, just to know that if they value anything in their life, then to stay away from the drugs because it will take it all away.
I would tell them, it's not worth it. If you are gonna do it, you will. From my experience, I went through from stealing from my house when I was younger, and then when I had kids, I used to be mean to my kids. Not see them. I used to every week I used to not come home for a couple of days, just stay out. My family and my kids are wondering where am I at, and they always cry. It's not worth it. You just realize when you get older and you are doing it, you'll start to realize you failed. That's what I'll tell them.
Just refrain from people who, use the drugs too, The best thing to do is just find a better surrounding and a better network of people that don't use. That way, you know, it doesn't trigger you to relapse or slip.
Compassion and understanding are undeniable traits of the District Court of Guam's DOOR program. Deputy Chief U.S. Probation Officer Grace Flores approaches each and every client with an attitude of hope.
Even if it's small milestones, even if it's small accomplishments, as the team, we applaud them for doing well, regardless of how small it is.
The DOOR team really believes in the success of the clients. We only address those clients who are struggling, and we're very vested in their success. We know that they're only on supervision for a short period of time, sometimes for 1 year up to 5 years. And when they're done with supervision, they're going to be back out in the community with us.
Our hope is that they'll succeed in this program and that they will become law-abiding citizens free of the narcotic drug. They'll be employed, they'll be family people, they'll nurture their children.
This is really their last hope. I mean, their last chance, really. They've served their time. They've either been found guilty by a jury of their peers or they have pled guilty, and now they're coming back to redeem themselves, to be with their families after having served hard time in federal prison. And so what I tell them oftentimes is, hope never abandons you. You abandon it.
And Chief Judge Francis Tydinko Gatewood's wish is that DOOR clients never abandon hope. In the end, it's the only thing that will pull them through the mired trench of drug addiction.
I have one comment. I think DOOR reaches its objective on what they're supposed to do. It's often easy to judge drug addicts on the newspaper and say, oh, they're bad people. But with the documentary, I think it helps the island understand that not all people are bad and that there's a story behind why they're that way.
I actually think it's a very good program. We're used to seeing that people who do substance abuse, that they usually have reinforcement, like they just go to jail or they just participate in other programs. But I think that having a positive program for them to stay in and a supportive group like that is really good for those kinds of people.
The people who are in charge of it, they're very understanding of their clients.
I'm kind of surprised, like when I saw it. Wow, I kind of thought you just go to court, just find out if you're not guilty or guilty, and then if you're guilty, you go to jail, that's it. Make them realize like it's not for them anymore. It could hurt them and the people around them.